Welcome to this edition of Wisdom and Wellness. I am with Robyn Wheat. We are at Village Crossing in the community of Warman's Mill. This is a beautiful place, actually. It really is. One of the things I would love to know about is what is the difference between a nursing home and assisted living?
Sure. So I get that question all the time. So a nursing home is typically more of like a clinical setting with more skilled type needs. And then assisted living is more of like a home-like setting where you don't need as much monitoring or breathing tubes, feeding tubes, IV treatments, those bigger types of needs. So you would have to have those needs to be considered into a skilled or a nursing home facility.
Gotcha. So more, I feel like what you're saying is it's more medical.
Yes.
The nursing home side of things. Assisted living is more kind of the step between completely independent living and kind of the nursing home situation.
Correct.
Yeah. At what point should, my parents are aging, at what point should we be considering assisted living?
So there's a lot of different reasons why somebody would look for assisted living. Sometimes I'll have people that call that they're lonely and they are very isolated and feel scared to be at home alone. And then you'll have other people that have care needs. They need help with their bathing, dressing, grooming, medication management, things like that. Or their family members know that they need help with that type of stuff. And so those are the type of services that just a little bit of extra help, or sometimes people just like to know that there's somebody here. If they feel unsafe or in the middle of the night, they can press a call pendant and we'll be there for them. Whereas at home, it's a much more complex situation if you get yourself in a little pickle in the middle of the night. But we have care staff that's here 24/7. And so you can have a peace of mind about you that we're here to help you at any time.
Yeah, and I mean, that's great because, first of all, just the companionship, not being isolated, not being lonely, having activities that are planned, really a community of people.
Right.
Yeah, and this is a long-term, situation where it's not just for a few weeks or a few months or whatever. It is really...
And it can be.
Sure.
Some people, I mean, realistically, when you come into assisted living, you're not going to come for just a little bit of time. Rarely do people do that, but sometimes there is that opportunity that you could get better and just need a little bit of extra help for a little while. And we do respite type stays, but not that many.
Right.
Yeah,
yes, for sure. So when someone comes to Village Crossing, what types of things are included with their stay here? So
it's all inclusive, really. So you have all of your meals in a restaurant style dining room, 3 meals a day. Anytime dining is what we call it. So from 7 to 7 they can come and have their meals. So we keep our preferences in mind here too, because if you were a military person and you woke up every day at 5:30 and now you just want to sleep in till 9:30, that's okay. You can come down to the dining room and have your breakfast at 10 if you'd like. So that's the anytime dining model. So you have your meals, laundry, housekeeping. We do have transportation. So to appointments or to outings, they do all kinds of things like that. Of course, all your utilities and activities are like the main base cost. And then you have all your care needs. So bathing, dressing, grooming, medication management, mobility reminders. We have a memory care here too. So if there's a memory, there's some memory support here as well if you need that. But so really, it's all in one. I mean, they have kitchenettes in the apartments and stuff, so we want it's a apartment style living. So we want them to feel like they have their own space. But there's all this beautiful space around you that you can still maximize and use because it's your home too.
It is beautiful. And what I do love about it, you've taken me up and around before, it really does look like an apartment setting. It is not clinical. It doesn't look, you know, like anything other than you're in a beautiful apartment building.
Right, yeah. Hotel
Hotel,
style.
yeah.
Boutique, yeah.
Yes, it really is. It really is.
And the
like
engagement portion is really good too. So like there are very well attended activities are our exercise class in the morning, our happy hours in the afternoons. Not so much that they are drinking all the alcohol, it's more just that socialization that they know every day they can just come and be and hang out with other people that are in like situation, because many people that come here have had a lot of loss, and so that isolation piece is really big for them.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really good. Does Medicare cover assisted living?
So Medicare does not cover assisted living. That it's private pay, and so we do accept long-term care and VA benefits, but no, Medicare is not covered in assisted living setting.
Okay, so when somebody is planning and thinking about whether it's like for somebody like me whose parents are aging, or even just the person themselves knows, hey, this is probably what I need to do. Are there people here to help assist them on the financial side?
Yes, we do we have a partnership with a company that we can help with the long-term care, with the real estate, with the all kinds of financials, as well as legal help and support too, because sometimes people just didn't think about all that.
Yeah.
And those are big things. Or there's people that are very private and they don't expect that this big thing's going to happen, and then here we are with this mess. And so we do have people that support them as well.
Yeah, that's really great. When somebody contacts you and then kind of gets information, like what's the next step?
So as far as coming here, so a tour is good, because I think that a lot of times people don't even understand the senior living landscape, because it's very complex sometimes. There's all kinds of different settings. So coming and hearing the spiel and letting us hear what your situation is. And that's the thing, is that our senior living in general and our partners in Frederick, because Frederick is a great place to be, we're so tight-knit that if I can't help somebody, then I'm going to put them in contact with the people that can. But hearing their needs and I think seeing for yourself that it's not that old nursing home that your grandma lived in that you're scared about, because most people are like that, and they can come in here and be like, oh my God, this is beautiful, it's not what I was expecting, but the care component is still there, and it's still the same. It just looks a lot different than that if you had
it's
it
got
in
a
your
much nicer face on the front of it, for sure.
Yes.
Do you have availability for people right now? Or
we do. We are filling up very quickly. We're full in our memory care, so we do have a wait list. We have a small memory care on the 3rd floor. It's a secured unit, so we have a wait list for that. And then we have a very few studios type apartments available. In our community, we have 1 and 2 bedrooms.
I was just going to ask about if partners wanted to come. So how does that work?
We do have couples here, a few couples, and we've even broken through some walls, because there are a lot of people that want bigger spaces or to be together. At this point, either style would be a wait list if they wanted something bigger than a studio. But really, when you think about assisted living, you're only watching TV and resting is what we're hoping in your apartment. Otherwise, you're out and about, even if it's to sit on one of the pretty patios, or in one of the reading nooks or something like that. But you're not spending a ton of time in your apartment, so you don't need a lot of space. But when you have couples or somebody that's coming from a bigger setting, or a more isolated type person that needs that space, we do have those. But there is a wait list for those bigger apartments.
Yeah, that's great. So at what point should people start to think about having this as the next step?
I think sometimes it's a hard conversation for people, so they are resistant to it, but you never want to do this in emergency circumstances. So if you can have the conversation, and especially since older adults are losing, they lose a lot. And so helping them to understand that if you don't help me to know what you need and want eventually, if the time comes, then I'm going to have to make the decision for you. So presenting it in that way and helping them to understand that we want to give them those preferences. Just tell me just in case, right?
Right.
But don't ever wait for emergency, because that's super stressful. We can move very quickly if we need to. We do get a lot of calls like that.
Yeah.
But it's always better if you have the discussion and are able to just know their desires and needs.
Yeah.
Maybe people don't care about all the fancy, or maybe there's certain things that they care about that you never even thought of to know.
Right.
So
are there signs that we should be looking at this more with some urgency?
Yeah, so I think that when you start to notice, medication mismanagement, maybe their pill thing is still full, or hygiene. I always say the hug is a good a thing to know. If they smell kind of weird, or if you're noticing that, because there is reasons why they don't want to take a shower. It might be because they're scared that they're going to slip in the shower, or they don't feel, it's a whole task to get ready.
Right.
So, and we like to say that if we can help you do something in 15 minutes that you typically takes you an hour, and now you need a nap, we can do that in 15 minutes, and then you can go and do things that you love to do, right? So,
right.
Hygiene is a big one, I would say. Medication management. Smaller things that you might not think to notice is like the refrigerator. Is there expired foods? Is there food in the refrigerator? Their weight is a big one. If they're losing weight, they might be forgetting to eat. If there's frequent falls, there might be something going on with them, and that can end very tragically. So those types of things I think are good to look at.
Yeah. Yeah, so I guess if you start to notice some of these things with your loved ones, it's a good time to start to get things in motion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Indeed.
because the great thing about being somewhere here is that you're going to get that additional support, you get that care, you get somebody checking, they're here 24/7, and they're not by themselves.
Right, and it takes it off of you, because
Yes.
that's stressful to know that you don't know what's going on.
Right.
So even if you just have somebody to check in on them every day or every other day for a couple of hours, that can go a long way too.
Yeah.
But eventually there's a lot of little key factors that go into knowing that, oh, this can't go on. It's
Yes.
just too scary.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
Talk
what
about
I do
it.
love about here is it would be easy to feel like home. Again, not only in the lobby when you walk in, you've taken me down to the theater room, and there's all these great places. It looks like a cruise ship, kind of, on ground,
Yes.
and I think it would be very easy for families to feel comfortable here. So we're going to recommend, even if you're not sure, schedule a tour, come by and see what's available to you and your family. I think you're going to find it really great, and as Robyn said, if you can't do something here when you need it, you're going to know places and recommendations for families to take care of after that.
Absolutely, yes.
All right. Well, we appreciate Robyn Wheat, and we'll see you next time.